Welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 479. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Arcostiniak.
What's up?
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, Season 10 continues, although Season 10 nearing its conclusion over the next few weeks with our final run of games between November and December. This week, we're talking about Sonic and All-Star Racing. Sorry, I forgot this. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. More on that later. First, I want to know, Mark, Matt, which kart racing video game item do you think you could successfully handle in a real life go-kart scenario? You're on the track, someone throws out a green turtle shell. You think you could knock that out? You think you'd be okay? Would you make it? Actually, I can confirm that you would, because I last week saw a dead turtle on the side of the road. So I think turtle versus car, I think you might win.
Yeah, and
Wait, so say that again. You just said that what item would you be able to use successfully, and then you said about dodging a green shell. So I'm confused on the question.
Which one do you think you'd be able to successfully not take damage from, I guess?
Got it.
If someone threw a banana peel out in the road, do you think that would get you? Do you think you'd avoid it?
I think cartoons have affected our brains sometimes in bad ways, and I think the banana peel is one of those.
Have you tried it?
Banana peels are only slippery on, like, kitchen floors. Like, it's not
it
slippery on, like, asphalt. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much grip there.
Well, I don't know, man. I
haven't intentionally slipped on a banana peel before. It's
Where at?
on a school stair.
Here's the other thing, though. I'll put
Not
this
the
out.
road.
On asphalt, I almost ate it over wet leaves. Something as simple as that. But you know what? That's probably wet
the whole
leaf
road
on
wet?
wet leaf. It's probably leaf on leaf. If it was just leaf on asphalt, I probably would have been okay.
Right. Was that road also wet?
Everything's wet. Everything's always wet.
Right. Right. So
Always be wet.
That's exactly the... Yes.
So yeah, but I think a banana I would definitely shred or just run over, no problem. Also, actually, yeah, a squid I can handle because they're not going to be flying in my face.
Right.
That just doesn't happen. Can't really speak for a blue shell.
Oh, that's easy. You just need to
might
hit your horn.
Right. That's assuming I don't know many go-karts that even have a horn.
That's a good point.
Because we're driving a go-kart, right? We're not like in just...
Yeah. This is go-kart, so... Yeah, well, you'd have to bring a horn from home. Do they allow home horns?
Ironically, wouldn't the easiest one to deal with be the lightning strike, since you're on rubber, technically?
Not if it's a cloud that appears directly above your head and still hits you.
If that's a bolt of lightning that either hits, like, the motor or you...
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a hole in your chest at that point.
It's true. We skewed very Mario Kart heavy, which was my fault. I led us on the wrong foot. This was also a terrible icebreaker question.
Well, I was thinking of Diddy Kong Racing at first, and I think I could survive a firework.
Yeah. I have survived fireworks, so check that out. Although that was pre-beard and hair, so I don't know how I'd fare these days, but yeah. Anyway, we're talking not Mario Kart, not Diddy Kong Racing, but perhaps the greatest kart racer of all, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, published by Sega, surprise, developed by Sumo Digital, first released December 18th, 2012. It was released on a lot of platforms. Xbox 360, Wii U, PlayStation 3, that is, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo 3DS, iOS, Android, PC. It's also available via backwards compatibility on the Xbox because Phil Spencer loves you. And it has auto HDR and FPS boost functionality on participating consoles. More on that later, because I think that's actually changed the game quite a bit for the positive.
It doesn't have remote play.
It does, yeah, no remote play. But that's because you can just bust out your Vita and play it whenever you'd like, Matt.
Sure.
You're back of the box, and this is, for the first time in a while, physically on the back of a box that I have in my hand. This is Racing Transformed. Prepare to boost, drift, and barrel roll your transforming vehicle through land, sea, and air while unleashing your devastating all-star move on the competition. This is no ordinary race. And then the thing that unfortunately I think we'll end up talking more than we should about, that's also right here on the back of the box, Race as Danica Patrick and Wreck-It Ralph, which is,
iconic duo.
Why not?
Yeah. If it made people buy the game, I guess good for them. But
I don't think it did.
I don't know. This game still sells pretty well. Or has sold pretty well. And it's still in my heart. Truly one of the best racing games ever. I want to talk about that. I've got a long history with it. Maybe we'll start there. Since I'm already speaking, I can just keep on rolling. I have literally no idea why I bought this game when I bought this game. I don't remember marketing. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of, sometimes that, especially in the last 10 to 15 years, you can remember the marketing. I don't remember at all. Maybe it was that. Maybe I just knew that I wanted a racing game. Maybe I'd heard that it was good. Either way, I picked it up. And I played a lot on Vita. Like, a lot on Vita. I obviously have the PS3 version, and then at some point I remember buying the PC version and played a good bit of the way through it, all the way up until now the 360 version's been kind of a go-to with Xbox One and Series X backwards compatibility. But it has consistently been a part of my top 20 go-to games in the last 11 years, I would say. 11? 10. It's 10 years old. Congratulations. Sorry, I'm thinking it's 2023 already. So yeah, 10 years. I don't know. You have those kind of games that you just sort of, when you've got nothing else, you just drift back to. And this is definitely one of those. And it's one that I've replayed through the World Tour mode several times on every platform. And yeah, I'm still not tired of it. That's kind of my exposure. Matt, I think this was your kind of big first pass at the game, right?
Yeah, I think I raced a few tracks just over your house or whatever. But yeah, this is my first kind of deep dive into World Tour mode. Probably seen a lot of the tracks for the first time as well. Yeah.
And Mark, I know you've played this one before, but you also have a bit of experience that I don't think Matt or I have. You played the first game a good bit, right? Sonic.
Yes.
And All-Stars Racing.
Yeah. Mostly on 360 and online with friends. With that was pretty fun. And then Transformed, I think I've played exclusively on PC.
And the background on this one, Sumo made Sonic and All. Gosh, I should have pulled the name of this. I believe it's Sonic and All Stars Tennis or Sonic and Superstars Tennis.
I thought it might. For some reason, I was thinking Sega All Stars Tennis. but I could see Sonic's name being first.
No, I think you're right. I don't think they added the Sonic bit until later on. But yeah, Sega Superstars Tennis. Developed by Sumo Digital, also published by Sega. Following the development of that, I think Sega was happy with what Sumo had done to include all of these characters and get everybody in one sort of space. So Sumo was tapped to take the Sega Superstars into a brand new game. So we had Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, which was 2010. And it kind of hit every major platform at that time. But it had stages based on all of the different Sega properties and characters. You had 20 playable characters, some that were kind of like exclusive. You had Mii's on the Wii, Banjo and Kazooie on the 360 version, that kind of stuff. But it was also very successful and ended up getting tapped for a sequel, which is the one we're talking about here, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which has, to me, and this is the part I kind of want to, now let's build to this a little bit. I'm going to build to the actual Sega of this game, because it really is, to me, it's more than a Sonic game, but you can see that we moved from Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing to Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform, removing Sega from the title. And then sadly, the third game in this kind of Sonic Racing would be Team Sonic Racing, which removed all Sega outside of the Sonic universe from the package, which I think was a mistake. But I guess looking at this game, something to me that stands out is, and I don't think it's unique for this game. I think that any of these kart racing games have a lot more depth than you would otherwise consider. But Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, you can jump in, you can do Grand Prix at whatever difficulty. From the start, there's 3 difficulties, easy, medium, and hard. Is it medium or normal? I think it's normal. And eventually you unlock an expert mode. But you can do that through Grand Prix, or there's the aforementioned World Tour that Matt brought up. World Tour kind of takes you around this interconnected map where you can unlock characters. You do races, but you also have challenges based on there's like a boost challenge or a drift challenge where you need to make sure that you're always boosting to get to the end of a race, or you're always drifting within specific drift zones. And that kind of takes you through every map or every course in the game. But that can be as easy or as difficult as you'd like it to be. And the more you kind of play and the more you learn how to play the game, the more wild stuff you can do to really maximize your lap times and just master this game. And I think a big thing that this game does that I think even Mario Kart doesn't is this emphasis on connecting drifts and maintaining drifts to build boost levels. You have 3 levels of boost, and you get them by, drifting for a certain period of time. And the cool thing is, like, you can swap sides, like you can continuously drift through multiple turns. Where you kind of like hop and turn the other way to take a corner left. You can maintain that drift and keep building your boost all the way up to boost level 3, which is obviously the most punch kind of hit of nitrous, if you will. And then keep swinging back to the right to keep carrying that forward. I think that, and then you can start getting into weird techniques where part of this game's, the titular transforming, it is a kart racer, you're racing cars, but you also will transform into a boat or a boat-style vehicle to travel on water, and there's also air racing as well. But each of those, there's kind of a big blue ring that you drive or fly or whatever through that transforms the vehicle, and if you have the right ramping as you pass through that, and you do a trick with your right stick, you can kind of get like a transform boost. And it's like kind of all of these little tiny things where you can do tricks in the air, you can combine your boost, you can like save a boost if you just continuously drift after you've hit level 3. Like you can really time things right with boost pads in the world or items, pickups, that kind of stuff, and just dominate races. And you kind of need to do that as you get into some of the later hard and expert level racing. To me, that's the thing that the Sega stuff, everything around it, the shell of it is obviously what drew me in and what I love about this game. But the gameplay itself, there's not many arcade racing games or kart racing games that feel quite like this. And especially a game from 10 years ago that still feels this good. It's still fast. It's still fun. It still has a lot of challenge. Like I still find myself challenged as I've been playing it forever. Matt, you're kind of Dr. Resident Race Boy over here, as your title is. And you've gotten into a lot more actual racing stuff. And I know this is a bit of a departure for that, but I think it's still, you could use some of the stuff you've learned playing F1 and Gran Turismo. Do you feel like this one kind of challenged you in that way? Was it just another kart racer to you? Where do you fall on this one?
I think it's somewhere in the middle of like kart racing and like applying actual stuff. I think the thing I took out of this, I mean, I haven't really played a lot of other kart racers besides, I think, to some extent, every Mario Kart, besides maybe the handheld ones. I think the thing that differentiates this game is like the weight of the cars. And I know there's like a weight like slider to all the different cars or whatever, but just in general, like all the cars feel heavy into turns and corners and drifting and the like of that. And yeah, I think I like that weight a lot, and I think that's the main thing that kind of differentiates this one. And then yeah, I mean, not to say it's tough to say this has a simulation feel because like it's a kart racer at the end of the day, but that weight kind of, I don't know. I think it makes like drifting a touch harder than usual, especially when you're trying to nail the banking stuff. Because I mean, if you bank wrong, you're going to go right into a corner and then, or right into a wall or whatever, or off the track depending on where you're at. Yeah, I don't know. I think that weight is your biggest thing, really.
Mark, in terms of gameplay, this one over the original one, the addition of boats and planes, did you welcome that? Do you prefer the original, just standard kart style?
I don't know. It's a little conflicting. I like the variety of transforming, but I think we lost something in like a trade-off with it. Like I'm not sure if they had to consider the transforming when it came to like their all-star moves, because I think that dictated a lot of what they did, and it doesn't feel as creative as the first game. Like Sonic just still like stays in his vehicle and is just like surrounded by rings in this one, while in the first one he just straight up ditches the car, turns supersonic, and you just fly through the whole thing. So it's like, I don't know, it's just stuff like that. But yeah. I guess that's more of just like a presentation level than anything.
No, but that's an element we haven't touched on, is the all-star stuff, which I'm glad you brought that up. There's obviously items in this game as you race through. You grab pickups and you can attack with a series of items that are generally kind of nondescript. Like they're not attributed to one single game. They're just, they are what they are. But yeah, the all-star thing is something unique to this Sonic racing type of game. Like there's no Final Smash in Mario Kart or any of that stuff, but it's kind of like that idea where you just have this like character specific attack that you get, and it usually
Double Dash had that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Like, never
Not
again.
8, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Double Dash had like very unique weapon types based on who you were playing. Yeah, that's a good point. This has they're definitely awarded when you're not doing well, right? Like you find yourself with a higher probability of getting
I won a race with one I should not have gotten when I gotten it. So
like they kind of give them to you when you're. I've definitely noticed when I'm like trailing a lot, I get all-star, or if I'm in like 3rd or 4th and I keep trading, between like 2, 3, and 4,
when
and
I got
just
mine,
need that push.
I got 4th. I was in 4th when it happened.
Yeah, it happens, and it can really shift the whole feel of the game. But I think to Mark's point, yeah, they are a bit of a downgrade compared to the original. I forgot about that. Because all of them, like, when you're racing as Ages, the Sega kind of, character, you get like you turn into 3 jets, seemingly from Afterburner, or definitely from Afterburner, but it's practically the same attack as like Tails and or Sonic. Like it's the same kind of all-star thing.
Yeah, like most of them are just they turn into like an aircraft of some sort and just kind of fly through. But like, and it makes me think like if a listener needs a comparison, hasn't played either one. Like in the first game, you would have Jackie Bryant and Rio from Virtua Fighter, and I believe they're driving the car from Outrun, if I'm not mistaken. And their way of a boost is that Rio gets out of the car and fucking like shoulder bashes the back of it, and it sends the car flying. Like, I thought that was like that's very neat, and you don't really see that like sort of thing in here, but you do get more. I guess that's just a trade off for the variety. That's the only thing I can think of, because like some of the levels in the first game were also pretty creative in design for just a car based racer.
Yeah.
Sort of like, all right, how can we do this again without reusing the same stuff? So I guess they had to add, transforming levels as you go throughout the, as the laps go through, and you have an air portion and the water portion, and it's not bad. It's just different.
It is, yeah. It's a different feel. I think you do have a higher number of tracks in the original game, but I do think this
right.
The sequel has a handful more characters, like 4 to be exact.
Well, you have to remember for the, I guess, 24, 25, you want to count the DLC track, are original, or so, sorry, for the 20.
Yeah.
Bad math. Are from the original game, too. So I guess it's 16 original tracks, 17 you include the Outrun.
Yeah, that's a good point.
DLC.
But still, I think on the whole, like, a really solid package. If you had only played this, like, I think comparisons aside, because I think there's I think trade-off, Mark, that's the perfect word for this. Like, it's you get neither are like perfect or what they, you know what I mean, like all the way what they could be, but you get these really, I think you have 2 really solid games, and I think as a single package, this game is just super good, like top tier.
Yeah, like it definitely it scratches that like Diddy Kong Racing itch in a way. So like, because you like at least, and I would prefer this over that one because you're not stuck to just one vehicle when it comes to the 3. Like, it's not just a hovercraft race, it's not just a jet race, but it can be, I think,
right,
in the World Tour, perhaps, if it's like a special mission thing. I'm not sure if that's something
sometimes you just do like a lap and whatever, but a lot of times what happens is not only are the vehicles transforming throughout the race, but the stage transforms as well. So between laps, the stage might change, modify, fall apart.
I will highlight, though, I think just personally, if I had to choose, I think I would go with the first game. Only because I hate the water parts of this game. The water, maybe the physics are too real. I'm not sure, but like, it's never a good time trying to go against people, like, or maybe that's just like my skill with it more than anything. But water gives me a very tough time. The air part is simple. That's easy because nothing really to ride on.
The big thing with this is like they do use like boat physics when you're driving. I find it's easiest to hit the water drifting and continue to drift as much as possible. Just like I'm always sideways in a boat. I'm never driving head on unless there's like a long stretch where I can boost and hit ramps or something. But
I think I'm approaching that wrong because this game definitely wants you to be like in constant drift, which I guess is the point, right? But I still haven't figured out all like the tricks and turns.
How are you going to say they used real boat physics, but then a sentence later say you're always sideways?
That's real boat physics, dude.
That's not real boat physics.
That's real boat physics. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we jump into some of these questions we've got. Do either of you have a favorite track from the game?
I lean towards I forget if it was in the first one, but I typically lean towards the Samba de Amigo.
Oh yeah,
tracks. The one that has like the weird like acid trip part where it's just giant heads floating through like a Rainbow Road type portion where it's just like giant characters just like coming by and everything's just like crazy colors. Whichever stage that one was, I can't remember if that is like the studio or if it's the or the tour. That and any of the House of the Dead stages are always welcome.
Yeah.
I like that House of the Dead stage. It very much reminds me of a Bowser's Castle stage.
Yes. Yeah, it's got a good creep to it.
I will say just because of the nature where these two games were on the calendar, we obviously played Billy Hatcher much earlier than when I decided to play this game, so I was given a bad shiver when the Billy Hatcher stage loaded up for it to not look like Billy Hatcher at all, weirdly enough.
Matt, even before playing Billy Hatcher, and I played this, I don't care for snow levels typically anyway.
Neither do I.
It didn't have a chance.
Fucking go back to Double Dash, and I think I shit on Sherbert Land or whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid enough, I think I just like the regular Afterburner thing, the carrier. It's the easiest fucking oval, and I think that found out something about me. I think I just like simple oval tracks. I don't need all this windy roads and shortcuts. Just give me a fucking oval where I can perfect my drift.
That's fair.
Still chasing that baby park dragon.
I think that's what it was. I felt at home on that one.
Did you get good with the shortcut there? In that last stretch. It's like right before the finish line.
I don't remember it.
That used to be such a...
I still suck obstacle. At it. I always slam into the boxes. And
it depends. Yeah, it depends on who I'm playing as.
Yeah.
And it's either a success or a fail every time.
But two, that guitar solo part or that whole guitar riff reimagining the Afterburner theme, like...
Oh yeah, I love the soundtrack.
Dude, so good. Like I almost break the walls when that Afterburner song comes on. It's super good. I remember the first time playing this game, the moment when I was like, I remember like, I don't know, exclaiming excitement out loud. What do you call that? Screaming was when I unlocked Adder's Lair, the Golden Axe stage. Because again, like the music kind of like pulled me right back to playing Golden Axe for the first time on the Genesis, and just the way they kind of built that level. I think ultimately there's like one turn in there that I hate, and it ends up making me hate playing that level. But I remember that feeling of like being so stoked to have a Sega racing game, like just generally speaking. Burning Depths from Burning Rangers. I know that you don't like the water stages, Mark, but
right, no, but I'm glad you brought that one up. I love that one. That one felt like the most amusement park ride
Yeah.
out of all of them because the characters are just flying with you and they're talking to you as if like you're on a mission. And that one I'll give the pass. That
one's cool. And like the way the water level rises as you're racing through each lap, like it's a cool, like it puts you in that game, and it's neat. And then another one that I love specifically for the trick driving is Seasonal Shrines, the Shinobi stage. There's a spot when you're going up these like big stairs under gates, and like you can just like, you have enough airtime to do like a triple flip and then land right on a boost pad, so you just like fly through that stage. It's so good. I remember that one gave me a really hard time the first time I had to do like I think it was a boost challenge or something in the World Tour. But I just played it over and over again, just having so much fun, like just mastering that track. And I think that, like kind of looking at Burning Rangers specifically, that was one where when I first played this game, I like had a Genesis as a kid, loved Sega, or I thought I loved Sega until this game. But I got to that Burning Ranger stage and I was like, what is a Burning Ranger? And then looked it up, and then, right, and I kind of had that throughout a lot of this game. There's a lot of Sega in this game. Specifically, there's over 18 franchises. Real quick, just going to list them out real quick for the listeners if you've not played this. You have playable characters from the following: Super Monkey Ball, Alex Kidd, Samba de Amigo, Sonic the Hedgehog, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Golden Axe, Shinobi, Knights, Space Channel 5, Shenmue, and Skies of Arcadia. All of those are in some way represented as well by stages. You also have stages from Afterburner, Panzer Dragoon, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, House of the Dead, and Burning Rangers. And then you have a little bit more Sega flair here and there, but one in the form of Rise Star, who is your flag waver. What do you call that person, Matt? Flag boy? The flag doctor?
Yeah.
The flag doctor is Rise Star.
Flag marshal? Flag boy. I like that.
Yeah, flag boy. Yeah, it's Rise Star. Everybody's favorite classic Rise Star. But there's a lot of like Sega stuff poured into this game, and a lot that for me, despite thinking I knew Sega, I learned quickly how limited I was to Genesis and maybe kind of some Dreamcast stuff before whatever. But this is, for me, what like pushed me to seek out more of that era, or those eras of Sega that I had missed. Sega Saturn stuff, eventually Dreamcast stuff. And yeah, I ended up kind of getting more into those things because of this game. Is there a Sega franchise that you got into, or maybe now you want to get into because you learned about it from this game? Mark, we'll start with you.
It's hard for me with my background because I think by the time I got to Transformed, I was kind of aware of almost all of it. But the first game definitely made me more aware of, crap, what's the name? Is it Fantasyland? Fantasy World?
Fantasy Zone?
Fantasy Zone. Yes, thank you. Because you could play as the ship in the first one.
You could play as Opa Opa. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, who the hell? What is this freaking ship with wings and legs? I had no idea what this was, and then I think after all that was when I finally did check it out. But with this one, the second game definitely solidified it more. But I definitely want to get more. Like, I actually want to play Samba de Amigo. I've never played it. I've only seen the Maraca Wii peripheral in GameStop constantly, but like, I don't know if the game actually is playable. Is it more than just a Wii? I assume it is. I assume it's a Dreamcast game.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've never touched it in my life. I'm surprised I didn't even put it on this list. Instead, I put Gitaru Man.
That's right. It'd probably be hard to do with, like, we'd have to track down those. I don't know. Might have to be heading to a retro video game shop, try and track down those maracas. Matt, is there one for you that stands out as, like, never heard of it, but now you're intrigued based on the track?
Afterburner.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
even know that was a game. And then here I am on some aircraft carriers, and I'm like, I'm just like thinking, like, what Sega franchise is this? Look it up, and then boom, there's some dogfight airplane game.
Has a
like,
dope. That game has a dope arcade cabinet too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I did. When I was looking up the game, I saw the arcade cabinet. Pretty cool. Also, honorable mention. I don't want to play the game by all means, but Nights into Dreams. That track is you're such on an acid trip. That entire
it's a weird,
track.
Wild. Yeah.
So like, just maybe from far away, I want some more exposure into why the hell that track was the way it was.
Okay, two things on that.
Nights is an acid trip.
Yeah, I think that track is better, plays better than the actual game does.
Yeah.
The game is worth trying just to see if you can make sense of it. I can't. I sure can. Every time I try and play it, I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. But I've watched a speed run of it, and that kind of helps. And it's still not.
So I did watch a speed run of it this past, I think SGDQ,
I think it was, yeah.
And I think the only thing I got out of it was why he explained how the Saturn displays its colors and why it is the way it is. That's all I got out of it. I don't even know anything about the game, just more so about the Saturn than anything.
Yeah. I remember, like, the Sega Saturn was something out of this that I was like, I want to get. The Saturn was such a lapse for me, and I've talked about that on the show before, but, like, when the Saturn came out, I remember I was already thinking PlayStation. I was thinking Saturn didn't have a Sonic game, so why would I buy it? And I remember going to a friend's house who had the Saturn, and I liked the controller, but it didn't have Sonic, so I wanted nothing to do with it. So this pushed me in that direction. But I remember one of the early stages you play in World Tour is the Panzer Dragoon stage, and that was one where I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to know more about it. And now, having played that, there's a modern port, so if you play this Sonic racing game and you're like, I want Panzer Dragoon, you can easily pick that up. It's on Switch and other platforms. But Jet Set Radio was one too, where I'd known about it roughly, but didn't really know it until this. And thankfully, around the time they'd put out a Vita port of that game, so I was able to play a lot of it on Vita. I think the fun thing about this game was just like how well they realized all of these franchises in each of those stages, and like they really kind of brought them to life. One of the things that I always find interesting whenever I look up development stories on this game is when developing this game, Sega required not just approval of what Sumo Digital was developing for each stage, but approval from the directors or sort of like leads on the original franchises within Sega. So they had to go to each of them for approval on like, hey, does this work? And the one anecdote that I think gets brought up a lot, but it's, I think, worth mentioning here is when they went to the director of Skies of Arcadia and said, hey, here's our level. He'd apparently like watched through the footage of the level and seen how it transforms and all that stuff, and watched it with a very stoic, almost, like, they thought he was mad throughout it, like just the way he was kind of watching it. They were like, oh crap, he hates it, this isn't going to go well. And then he ended up bursting out into tears because they nailed it so well. He like,
oh wow,
had never felt so seen before. But I think that is a testament to like how great this game is at capturing Sega and what Sega means and can be.
Then who was the director for that Race of Ages then? That
was
one track. I know. So who was the director of that? Because that course fucking sucks.
That
like not from a design, like from it being trying to be like a Rainbow Road knockoff, like I love that.
Yeah.
Your tribute to Sega is little blue boys running past you. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know. There was at one point a story mode planned, so I wonder if that was a hangover from that, where because they tried to come up with some story that would cause all of these characters to be in one world together, and it was going to be revealed that Robotnik was behind it, and blah 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 blah. But they'd scrapped that, so I wonder if maybe that was. I'm with you though. It should have if you could do in a sequel to this game that should hopefully be created one day. If they could do what Astro's Playroom did for PlayStation history, you could just build that into a kart track, that would be top notch.
Driving the inside of a console?
Yes. Well, you kind of do, which brings us to our favorite racer in the game. I want to hear who your favorite racer is in the game, but the one, speaking of driving a console, that I've recently become a fan of, since unlocking it in the 360 version, is Ages, which the three forms for this car. So the character itself that you play as is a VMU for the Dreamcast. It's like a little anthropomorphic, doesn't have arms or legs, but it moves and stuff. It drives the car from Daytona, USA. The boat is a Dreamcast controller. And the plane is an F-18 Tomcat from Afterburner. The boat part, the Dreamcast controller, if you hit an obstacle or you bash into a wall really hard or something like that, or you fail a trick, it does the big loud Dreamcast VMU beep. And you also hear the infamous disk drive thing. Very good, very fun character to play as. But who was your favorite character playing throughout this one, Matt?
So I should have played with different characters more, but I have a tendency of once I kind of find someone that fits and I'm trying to get through to stuff, I kind of stick with that person. I think kind of once I figured out what stats mattered the most to me in my personal drive, I ended up being Knuckles for most of this game, so much so that my license says my favorite driver is Knuckles. So there it is.
That checks out. Yeah, I think I did Knuckles a good bit on the Vita as well. He was fun to play as.
I was waiting for this question because I knew I was going to say Knuckles. Because Mark, you were mentioning it about the All-Star power-ups or whatever. Mm-hmm. Was Knuckles in the first game? And if so, do you know what his power-up was in that game?
So both involved the Master Emerald. It's just that I noticed a lot with the first game was he ditched the vehicle as well and was just gliding through while the Master Emerald was above him. Okay.
Because all right. So Master Emerald, I guess that. All right. So I was just calling it a Chaos Emerald by mistake, I guess. Sorry.
You're close.
It just floats on top of the car, and the car just goes faster. You still run into the wall, and it slows you down. You run into people, does nothing. I thought it was the dumbest.
It's not great. All of them, you can still slow yourself down, even though it kind of has autopilot in a way.
Yeah, but it's not your turning gets all affected with them. And you just can't help but run in the. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was. I was just curious. Yeah, but I ended up using Knuckles. I don't think it was any particular reason besides just kind of got comfortable with this car. Especially once you get the mods. You can trade a stat point for other stat points by default or whatever. I think I put a point in handling for him, and that's when I kind of optimized his build.
Mark, who was your go-to?
So both of you said my answers. I do have this time around. I did play as just Sonic a little more, just to level him up and just see whatever. But I think it was because because you got to unlock Samba, so I was I for a while because I like that banana car.
Yeah, it's a good car.
And by the time you get to Samba, you realize he ditched his old car for a train, and I was like, oh. So I should go back and spend time with that because I kind of just ditched them. Once you got a train, I was like, this looks big and clunky. I don't know how cool this is going to be. But I should go back with that. And so I switched between II and, for the memes, Danica Patrick.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Right? I think I raced as Danica when I played before I really got into it this time around.
She's not the worst, but
yeah, that's fine.
I'm sad
I just like that the game. Sorry, it's just it's only at one specific part, and I can't find it again. But there was just a one time where they recorded Danica's name, and they said Danica.
It's from what I've picked up, I think it's when you are, or rather when she goes All-Star, because you'll hear Danica Patrick has gone All-Star. But I feel like I've also heard Danica.
I have it recorded. I just forget where it's at. I think it might be just with the roster, but I don't know if it's only to within a certain mode or something.
It's
they'll say Danica, but then immediately after it'll say Danica. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how to pronounce it.
No, looking at I definitely found favorite characters in this game to play as, but looking at the roster for the original, I'm sad that Billy Hatcher didn't make the cut. That was one where playing through the stage in this game, I didn't love that stage, but I do kind of like that weird water cave part. It sucks, but it's something fun about it. I think because it's right before the end of the lap, so it can kind of make or break, your placement. But that was when we're playing that level was my first time I'd ever heard of Billy Hatcher ever, and I was always intrigued by it until, of course, this year. But I still am. Billy Hatcher deserves another chance. Is there a Sega character that you wish had been on the roster?
Yes.
Oh.
Where is the love for Phantasy Star?
Yeah, man.
Come on. There's not even a stage, I think. It's but from Phantasy Star Online specifically, I want to play as a Ragrappy. Those little yellow penguins.
Yeah, that would be good.
I mean, that's pretty much Sega's Chocobo. That would be pretty cool, and I feel like I have a lot of two answers for a lot of these. But
no, it's good. It's
Virtual On.
Oh yeah,
it'd be cool to either have a Virtual On styled vehicle, or something kind of Transformer, or even a stage. Honestly, I would take, but yeah. But definitely the Rappy is number one.
That'd be good. I think Alice from Phantasy Star would make a good character as well.
Yeah.
Classic, Matt, anything for you?
I would love this. I mean, I guess you kind of got a Danica Patrick, but I think if they just would have leaned full into a motorsport manager, just that car.
Oh yeah.
And just put wings on it, and then somehow shape it into a boat. But no character, is just the fucking car is the character.
I feel like if they did a new one of these that went more Sega, F1 is, or rather Motorsport Manager is it's one of Sega's properties now.
You know what, Matt? You're not too far off, because I think, was it? I think Sega had a fighting game that kind of featured all their various characters, and I think you could just straight up just be a car and just beat the shit out of people as a car.
That
it stands up and everything, and the tires are its fists.
And then I looking through, prepare for this question, looking through a list of Sega properties, Trauma Center representation, just fucking Ambo.
Dude, Trauma
Sirens
Center.
and all.
Yeah, because that's the thing. This game came out before Sega acquired Atlas, but now you could have Persona representation, Shin Megami Tensei stuff too. There's all sorts of fun. I would like to see Kiryu in the game from Yakuza, or sorry, Like a Dragon.
That would be pretty cool,
as we're calling it now. And I also feel like a stage that represented Columns, the old puzzle game, would be cool. I don't know how you'd do it, but I don't know. That'd be a neat one. I also was surprised that Vector Man was not in the game, and I'm not alone in that. There was a fan poll by Sumo Digital to see which characters fans would like to see in the game as DLC, and then the idea was that they would take it back to Sega and say, hey, here's what they want. You cool with that? The characters that were in the poll, Hatsune Miku was highly polled, Vector Man was highly polled, Rystar, ToeJam and Earl, Bayonetta, who was actually planned. However, they wanted to keep the image of the game a bit more family friendly. One of my favorite ones, Segata Sanshiro, who is the Japanese. He's not a mascot per se because he's a human being, but like he was.
Is he the one in the martial arts outfit?
Yep. Yeah. He's in the He was in all.
And
the
now,
Sega
like his
Saturn.
son or whoever like takes over.
Yeah. But that was another top one. And then Ryo, Hazuki, who Ryo ended up making the final cut.
He ditched his motorcycle and forklift for the Outrun arcade machine.
Yes, which was a pretty good vehicle this time around. My closing question for y'all for this here episode is: what can Nintendo learn from this game when making Nintendo Kart? Little Freudian slip there. When making Mario Kart 10.
I think they should stop being afraid of boats. I know I said what I said about the water stages, but I think Nintendo could pull off something like pseudo wave racy, like everything turns into like jet skis or something, and maybe you have like a better grip on things or something. I don't know. Like instead of just driving underwater on just the freaking floor the whole time, it doesn't really feel like you're just hover cars underwater. I don't feel any different. It's just a different scenery. But I feel like you get the boat stuff with the hover cars, even like not below water, but it's those segments where you're above water. It does, yeah, but like it feels more it feels more F-Zero to me than anything. So like if they like fully transformed the car or something instead of just switching the tires, because like the hang glider I'm kind of okay with. We don't need a whole stage of just going through that. I don't mind little segments of just gliding through, but yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah, I think that would be a welcomed addition. Change up Mario Kart a little bit. Matt, what do you think?
I like the Levolution stuff in this game. It's something. I guess as you're mastering this game, I could see it being a little annoying, but like, I don't know, your first couple times through the level, it keeps you on your toes, and like sometimes when you're going through these Grand Prix and World Tours and you're playing some of the same stages over and over again, sometimes that minute 30 lap can feel like 3 minutes when like you're out in front by so much or whatever. I guess this game doesn't have it as bad because you can kind of choose difficulty right away, but I'm thinking like 50cc Mario Kart and trying to get, unlock everything. Just a change in scenery from lap to lap. And some of it gets bonkers. I think you mentioned that Panzer Dragoon map, but like by the end of it, the whole stage is falling apart. You're just flying above it all and avoiding the mines of the ship and stuff. I like that idea. Incorporating the transformations and just keeping you on your toes. And sometimes, like I made a wrong turn at the House of the Dead map on the last stage because I was expecting it to go one way, like up the stairs, and I turned right up the stairs and I ran right into a wall. Yeah. I think that stuff is fun.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh. I just had that too. I just played that stage last night, And that final lap, every single time I was slamming straight ahead when you kind of get into that area. And then the final lap, I was like, all right, bank left, dude, you got this. Bank left, and nope, you were supposed to go straight that time. So I ate it. But yeah, I would like to see, I think the obvious one is the expanded roster, but I think that Sega representation was so strong in this game, and Nintendo has just as much history, that I would love to see more stuff. Like, I'd love an entire stage where you drive through the inside of a Famicom disk system and you can race as Discoon and stuff like that. Like, I think people's idea of a Nintendo Kart would be like the Smash Brothers roster in there, but I want like weirdo stuff. Like, I want to drive a Game Boy. You know what I mean? Like, I want all of that crazy, stupid stuff. Like, let me.
I just want the expansion of the roster for stages too.
Yeah,
like,
the stages,
imagine
going
through like a Metroid like lab or cavern or something like that. I guess we got the Zelda map, but
I think the Zelda map was a
stuff.
good like start, right? Like, if we could do like a Hyrule Field stage where you're like really twisting and turning through the depths of that, you can kind of get like a good background shot of a lot of things. I think the Animal Crossing stage is really well done as well, and the F-Zero stuff. Like, I hope that that's what the next Mario Kart is. I'd love to just see more of that. And honestly, there's been plenty of others. Konami's had a kart racer. Crash Bandicoot has one. There's a Digimon
Jak
one
and
that's actually
Daxter.
really cool, huh?
Jak and Daxter, Jak X.
Yeah, like there's been a lot of cool kart racers that I feel like, there's been some more recent ones that kind of went the wrong way, but
Smurfs.
I forgot about that one. No, I was thinking of that
Nickelodeon one.
No, actually, I feel like that one's probably decent. Or no, I know that one's fine. I played the demo.
The Final
of it.
Fantasy one.
The Final Fantasy one's the one I'm thinking of that was just like
had
so much potential, and then it decided to eat
forgot about that one.
turds.
Yeah.
Oh, well, one question, because I was thinking about the Hot Wheels kart racer. There's a Hot Wheels trademark in that opening little bit. Where is the
Yes.
Hot Wheels at in this game?
It's branded on Danica's car.
Okay, there it is. Thank you. I was curious, like, where is the Lego car? Where is not Lego, Hot Wheel car or something?
Yeah, it's that GoDaddy, Sonic Team.
Right, GoDaddy. Right.
Yeah, no, I love this game a lot. I'm glad we got to play it on the list, and I'm looking forward to playing it for another 10 years.
Oh, that was my other thing. Sorry. Answer the Nintendo question. A world tour. I like that mode.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool way to like.
I'm tired
break
of
it up.
doing Grand Prix after Grand Prix. Break it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah, the World Tour, I think, does a really great job of like giving you different challenges, and it really teaches you how to play the game. I don't think I'd be as good with drifts and boosts and those types of things if I weren't forced to learn that stuff in those World Tour stages. I'm already looking at it, and I don't know what we're going to do here. It's time for us to rank the game on the list. If you want to follow along with all the games we've ranked this season, check it out at thefreecheese.com/thelist. We're going to add our 41st game here. It's funny, like, as much as I love this game, and I really do wholly think it is the best kart racer game, and one of the best video games ever made, I am finding it difficult to place it in the top 10 for me. Nah, I'm climbing. I don't know. Where do you guys have a gut feeling at all, or?
It's either the new number 10 or new number 11 for me.
Yeah, I think I like it over Deadly Premonition, but I don't. I like it over Burnout 3. I don't know if I'm going to convince you two of that.
I can be okay with putting it above Burnout. But I did enjoy Burnout quite a bit. I mean, this
The only
game
thing
isn't
that
bad
sucks
either,
about Burnout is there's not, and this is because of the lack of licensing. Like, there's not a car that I remember in Burnout, and there's not a track I remember in Burnout. And it does kind of get samey. Now, you do travel to, like, different parts of the world and in their World Tour thing, but, like, there is race in city, and then there's race along countryside, and then race in city.
Well,
That's the only thing.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's the like apples and oranges of it. Is like
Yeah.
basic car game versus legacy IP
Right.
kart racer.
No, but I think there's something cool to be in, instead of picking Red Compact Car 3 and saying, like, I'm a Sega Dreamcast memory card.
Yeah.
It's definitely more creative for sure. Like I respect that.
I do like Burnout. I do like playing Burnout 3 better, though.
Like if you could just
Something about speed.
if you could just total the other characters while racing.
Yeah.
Make them run into a wall and die. No.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
something ironic in Sonic. You slow down when you hit a car that you just hit. So, like, you know, like you hit them with an ice thing, you hit them, and then you slow down, and then you just kind of give them the boost back. Burnout, if anything, you go faster.
Yeah.
Speed.
Are you thinking
I
Burnout
think-
over it, or
I think Burnout, I think, is the way I go.
I'm fine with it. I Burnout is a fantastic video game. This one's a tough one for me, where this helped me influence what games I picked for season 11, because this is one of those like all-time classic favorites for me. So I avoided a lot of that in season 11 to ensure that I don't think I'm ever going to put Symphony of the Night on this list. If one of you end up putting it on the list for one of these things, maybe, but like I don't think I could ever do that, because it would be too hard for me to, I don't know, maybe not.
Right.
As I'm thinking about it, I'm like, nah, Wii Sports is better than Symphony. Like on the whole, on this list. I don't know.
So Matt, were you saying that Burnout stays at 10?
Yeah, that's where my gut says. I'm just thinking, I'm going back, and like even I did play, so I guess this is where I say I played on backwards compatibility on a Series X. Like, even with the FPS boost, like, there's something that Burnout 3 has with speed. For better or worse, it's sometimes, like, things just come at you in a flash and you wreck your car, but I don't know, I just...
All right, hold on. Not that I'm fighting this too hard, but let me ask you, which difficulty were you playing on?
I think medium, at least this past week.
Because that's where your speed's going to come in at hard and expert. That's the stuff where... whatever. But again, that's not, I don't think it, I think honestly, and maybe we revisit this in a year, maybe we sit down and you go, let's shake up the list. And you're like, man, ever since last November, I've been playing that Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Also, check out my Sega Saturn. This is Matt talking.
I don't think you're saying, no, I definitely don't think I'm saying that.
This is Matt talking.
Maybe Sonic, but not Sega Saturn.
And yeah, I was wrong. I've been playing on expert. I've got All Stars and World Tour. Let's do this. And you put this baby at number 1. But no, I think it still stands. I think 11's good for this. I'm good with 11, unless you feel like we should fight it, Mark.
Nah, I think it's fine.
There's part of you that wants to fight it though, and I love that.
Yeah, but then I don't want to. I feel like I'm just going to keep shitting on it if I do. So I don't want to be that person, and I'm not trying to be. But I keep thinking about the boat part, and it's just like I don't.
I like the boat part. Boat part for the first
I'm a
sentence
simple
of what
guy.
Joe said. Boat part is realistic. That second sentence that followed it was bizarre, but
No, it made sense. It made a lot of sense.
I don't know. Now I feel bad because I'm putting DJ What's His Face above all this.
Agreed.
Sonic definitely has the better soundtrack.
Yeah.
But damn it.
Yeah, but Billy Hatcher's in this game too, so.
Oh,
I will say Billy Hatcher's
fucking
at,
Daytona car though.
Yeah, Billy Hatcher's at its best in this game.
It's not, the bar's not high.
It's Knights is also at its best in this game.
Agreed.
Not the car though. Don't look at the
again.
car. The track is fine. Don't look at the car. Don't.
Yeah, the car will.
Track's an acid trip. That's what that track is.
The car's a nightmare.
Yes.
Pun intended. Shit.
You want to
Am I
bump
gonna
it?
be that person? I just fucking might. As much there's a. I keep thinking like, oh, between the first racing game and then this one, and it's like, I keep having love for the first one, even though I haven't played in forever, and watch me end up not liking it as much as I used to, or something.
I'm good bumping this up.
I don't know. Maybe it is 10. I just looked at my review and I gave it a score above Burnout 3. So there's that.
Look, I've been pulling punches on some of these things here and there. Just, it's all good. It's all on the list.
I do like Burnout's gameplay more, but I think as an overall package, I think Sonic deserves to be above
I'm
it.
doing it. I'm making the call. How
Sonic
about this?
Racing.
Check this out. I will make Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform number 10, but I will leave Burnout 3 Takedown listed as one of the elite on the list. How's that sound?
Sure.
Hey, no, it's fine because for all we know,
Are we going to
I don't
reorganize
know.
this
It
again
feels-
anyway?
We've got a whole lot of fun stuff still coming up here in the final weeks of Season 10, and
I think there's games that are going to push these two games out of...
I think so too. Maybe.
we know where we know where Burnout is in our hearts. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah,
And
we also know
honestly-
where Deadly Premonition is, too.
I will, I can let the listeners know now, as of this recording, Matt, Mark, and myself have revealed the Season 11 video games to one another. So, as this list continues to grow into next year, who the heck knows what will end up where. Should be a fun time. And we're going to have a fun time next week with episode 480 as we talk, rank, review, and rate Mass Effect 2. There it is. It's out there. We can't move it anymore. It's a lock. Come back for episode 480 next week. We'll talk Mass Effect 2. In the meantime, if you've not played Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, and you consider yourself a Sega fan, you owe it to yourself and to Sega to go grab a copy of this game. The DLC is still available for the Xbox 360 version and the PC version. I would say if you've got the option to play it on PC or on one of the new Xbox consoles, do that. The Series X, probably Series S, with the FPS boost and stuff, game looks super good. And plays really, really well. It still holds up. Otherwise, you kind of can't go wrong with any version of this game. I've got the 3DS version. That's probably my least favorite way to play it, but it's still Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, buddy. And that's that. Till next time, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Thank you, Sonic, for being Sonic. Bye.